Good morning, folks. Haven't been on here for a while, but welcome to another edition of the Morning Glory Sessions. So, this one's a pretty strange one for me. Not a strange one, it's an emotional one for me. I turned 44 on Friday, and I spent the weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, doing Amazonian plant medicines, Kambo, Rapé, Yopo, Ayahuasca, Bufo Alvarius. And I've been in psychedelics for years. I've been pretty open about this. I've always believed psychedelics are definitely a way to expand the mind and to tap into unknown potentials and probably heal us for a bit. But this was my first shamanic experience, shall we say, the first time ever that I had went down to a proper organized event with experienced shamans and experienced the ritual of the ayahuasca, the Amazonian plant medicines. Now, I went down with a lot of expectations, shall we say, from my experience with DMT, which is pretty profound, to be honest. I've done DMT well over 150 times. I knew but with DMT, you get what you need, not what you want. DMT never gives you what you actually want, and no journey's ever the same. So I went down with this sort of understanding, this knowledge that would be the same occurrence, but never in my life did I expect to have this this journey of emotions that literally blew me away. Like I said in the clip there, I had to walk through the fires of hell to get to the gates of heaven. And by fuck did it put me through the fires of hell. First of all, I have to admit that the lead shaman Joe, she's now my angel. But up until the Bufo Alvarius experience, I absolutely despise this woman. And this is why I'm calling it Tasting My Own Medicine. This woman read me like a fucking book. She could see inside my very soul and knew exactly what was going on with me before I knew what was going on with me. And I'm going to be forever grateful for what she done for me and how she treated me. She treated me like an absolute asshole. And without her doing that to me, I don't think I would be the person I am today. I am a completely changed person. Ayahuasca didn't do much for me. It did a bit, but not too much. But the Bufo Alvarius, it's changed my life. And what happened was, the first night we went down, like I said, I knew not to anticipate, but I couldn't help anticipating what the journey was going to be like. And so the first night we went in and we done Gail and I both went down and we done the ayahuasca ceremony. And it was first of all, we done the Kambo, which is like seeing me burns. It's like the Amazonian toad. It's a toad to scrape off and then they burn your skin and then they put the Kambo on your skin. And you drink loads of water and then you vomit everything up. And 3 of these is like the Amazonian vaccine, right? And it's a pretty weird experience. But Gail's face literally swelled up 4 times the normal size. I shit myself. I actually thought something was going to happen and she was dying because her face literally swelled up like a spitting image, don't I? But the night of the ayahuasca ceremony, we drank the ayahuasca, which was like really strong licorice. This is the first time I'd done ayahuasca. So it tastes like really strong, really overpowering strong licorice. Was disgusting, but drinkable. It's only a small cup. So you drank that, sat down, and the music was playing. And I was noticing all these, but like you started vomiting, you purge your body, and everyone was purging. And all I got was the shits. I got seriously bad dose of the shits, and I spent a lot of the night on the bog. Now, a lot of people got amazing trips out of this, but I got fuck all. I really got I'd done about 1.5, 2 grams of mushrooms. They were just very light, like the walls breathing type of things. You know, if you've done acid or you've done mushrooms, you'll understand what I mean. I got that sort of thing, but I didn't get much from it. And the next day, I found myself getting very angry about the fact that nothing was working for me, that this ayahuasca didn't work for me. And everyone else was getting thing. And I found myself disconnecting from the group. And it was almost like the inner me, that inner child, that 7-year-old child me, which I'll talk about in a minute, was throwing a tantrum. and I didn't want to get involved in anything. So I stepped away. Gail was getting really upset because I was getting down, and I started noticing the triggers coming back. I went for a walk myself, and I started noticing the triggers. And my triggers for my suicidal thoughts and tendencies are always, I look at a tree and I think to myself, I could hang myself off that tree. Or I start talking to myself in the third person, and I talk about how I died. So how I've died, like maybe having a conversation with as two people, the two of my friends saying, here, Paul died. Oh my God, the Paul died. That's my triggers when I'm usually thinking suicidal. So I felt those triggers coming along. And there's this thing called integration, where the next day after the ayahuasca journey, we all meet up and we all discuss our own experiences. And I decided to stay away from that because I didn't want to be near people. I wasn't liking the people. I wasn't liking anyone. I was just not liking myself, basically. And then the next night, I wasn't even going to do the ayahuasca journey because I was feeling really down. And I can remember walking towards the door. I built up the self, right, I'm going to do this. And I walked towards the room where we're going to do the integration, which ironically, by the way, Michael Jackson lived there for 9 months in 1984, which is pretty cool. And he recorded all the music in that room we were in. So that was pretty cool, not a nostalgia trip there. But I walked in the room and I seen Joe walking down, the head shaman. And she coming in, I was like, I'm feeling a bit suicidal. And she goes, yeah, well, it's up to you. We're doing a ceremony, so I can't be ours. So are you coming in or not? And I was shocked. I was like, what? And she said, are you coming in? I was like, no. And she goes, okay, and slammed the door. And just fucking treated me like an absolute dick. And put me back. And I was really angry at this. And I was fuming. And I was like, fuck it, this is it. This is not worth living here. And I was starting to think the suicidal thoughts again. And one of the other shamans, Peter, who I do a lot to, he's a legend with me, so he was. He came up and started talking to me, and he started talking about tough love and how Joe, you had to trust Joe, and she knew what you needed, and she was done this so many times before. You just had to believe in her, and I couldn't do this. I was too much of a victim at this point. I was throwing a tantrum, throwing a huff, and I went to. But then he convinced me to come in, and I'd done the ayahuasca, and it was the worst idea of my life because something happened, but the corner I was in, Gail went fucking boogaloo for 2.5 hours, rolling about the floor, screaming, just doing crazy. She had what's called an unconscious process, and she doesn't remember 2.5 hours. There was other girls running about doing crazy shit, and I was very angry. I was getting angry now. I don't want to get into. I'm not going to go into personal details, but something happened in that corner that sort of freaked the fuck out of me, and I had to do a shamanic cleanse afterwards because of it, because it was so crazy. It was like a spirit or something, or a curse put in it. It was crazy. I know it sounds mad, but you have to believe me. So the next day, I get up, and I was even angrier. The ayahuasca had made me angrier, even angrier. Now, right now, I'm pretty much convinced that the ayahuasca was giving me what I needed. What Joe was asking me to do was connect with my rage. The inner rage, the rage that I've been building up for the last 30, 40 years, she wanted me to connect with that and release it. But obviously, when someone comes up and says to you, like, I want you to release your rage, come on, we're from fucking West Belfast here. It's not like, it sounds mad, you know, you're like, you're nuts, fuck you, I'm going to go back to the old me, I'm not going to listen to that. So I didn't understand what she meant. And the ayahuasca was getting me angrier and angrier. And I was in the van, see this cut? That's from my headbutt. I was so angry that I headbutted the inside of the van, split myself open to the skull. Gail freaked out. But this was when I think the ayahuasca started to work. I think this was the starting process of the entire Bufo Alvarius journey. And I don't know if ayahuasca knew I was going to do this. I know it sounds mad, but something tells me she knew I was going to do this. So I headbutted, I screamed, and I broke into tears. I burst into tears in the van, and Gail was holding my head, holding lots of towels and all in my head, and blood was pissing out. But at this point, I was screaming my rage, and I was crying uncontrollably. It probably lasted about 10 minutes, and then I sort of calmed down, and I decided to go into the integration, that day's integration. And when I went into the integration, we started talking, and I started talking, and we all have our own time to talk, and she asked who wants to talk, and I put my hand on it. So I've been feeling pretty suicidal, and straight away she went, no, you're not. I was like, what? And I was like, you're not going to kill yourself. And I was like, fuck, that's risky to say to someone who's fucking feeling suicidal, because at that point, I genuinely felt like I was suicidal. Okay, I felt these suicidal tendencies come back. And I don't know if I was nervous about it, I was annoyed. I can't really describe the emotion I was in. But she just called me out in that shit straight away. And Gail was a wee bit freaked out. Gail was going, Jesus, please, Joe, go a wee bit easier on him. He's struggling here. And she was thinking to herself, she'd tell me this later. And there was a couple of other people come up and said to me, fuck, how do you feel about that? And I was like, well, whatever happened. At that time when it spoke to me, I was glad she'd done it. I was over the moon she'd done it. I'm so grateful for her doing this to me. But at the integration, the Bufo Alvarius journey happened. And there was only 8 of us doing it. And there was about 25 of us doing the whole retreat. So the others went up to the upstairs balcony where they could watch us, and we all lay down. And I was the first one to actually go. And it was Joe giving me it. And I don't know whether Joe was giving it, this is purposeful or just coincidence that Joe was the one looking after me. But she'd give me so you get, it's like a crack pipe, like a big glass bulb, and you put the Bufo Alvarius is the soaring toad. Basically, the stretch the toad out, scrape off basically what's in essence BO, dry it out, and then you smoke that. And it's 5 MeO DMT, so it's like the strongest DMT you can get. It's whoa, here we go. So this journey, this is going to sound insane, okay? But I've pieced this together with my memories and what everyone else told me, because my experience in my time frame lasted about 1.5 to 2 minutes. In reality, in the world we live in today, it lasted about 25. So I have no memory of time, and I've got a few things mixed up, but the majority of things right. So I inhaled it, and I took a long, deep inhale. I'm pretty experienced doing this, so I knew to take it slow, inhale slowly, and just like inhale the vape. It's not smoke, it's vape. So I inhaled all the vape in, held it as long as I could, blew it out, took another big blast of the vape, and then I felt, before I even lay down, I felt everything go white. So if you imagine, like the way you see things now, divide up into tiny, tiny squares and make them 3D, so they're all like going in and out, bringing out, and they were coming in like that, and this whiteness came over me and completely swamped my vision. And at that point, I knew that I was experiencing death. I know it sounds mad, but that's what I was experiencing. I was experiencing actual death. And from this point, I panicked. There was a lot of panic in me. I was like, not being willing to accept the fact that I was dying. And then this sort of wave of acceptance came over me, and I accepted that I'm dying, and this is what I've got to accept. And then the squares I was talking about, the pixelated squares became very small. Andy, how's it going? They became very small pastel colored squares of yellows and pinks and blues. Beautiful colors, absolutely beautiful colors. And my daughter Sive was there. Now I figured out why Sive was there. Basically, there's been the shaman Joe. She was telling us there's ancestral trauma passed down from mother to child in the womb, and that this ancestral trauma had been passed down, and that what I was doing was in this journey I was telling Sive that I was dying, and that she was going to go on her life herself, but she was going to be okay. Everything was going to be fine, and she was going to get on with life perfectly, and she was going to be strong. And around her, when I was telling Sive the story, there were 7 flames, like candle flames, but I can't really. The candle flames is the best thing I can use to describe it, but it wasn't candle flames, but it was like these sort of like orange flickering lights. And instinctively, I realized that those were the 7 children I lost in through abortions one abortion that my ex-fiance had before I didn't know about it, and 6 miscarriages. So these children these flames were my children. And I can remember telling Sive that it was okay. She was going to go on right now. I know that what I was doing was I was breaking the ancestral trauma. That was me not telling Sive I was dying, but I was telling Sive that this part of me is dead, and that she can now live her life without the worry, or that I can live my life without the worry of her receiving my ancestral trauma. Because genuinely, this is something I've noticed for 7 years with Sive. Sive is very much like me, and I could see a lot of traits in me, and I was worried about this because I could see her getting the emotional traits that I got as a child, and I knew where this was heading. And to be honest, Sive was the main reason why I'd done this journey. And I can actually remember there's this bracelet here. I got this bracelet on her first birthday, and it says my hero since 2013. And I can remember before I went into the room, I was terrified. I was really emotionally scarred. I was crying. I was fucked up in the head. And I was like scared to go in. And I was embarrassed. And there was all this emotion was going on. And I remember I had my hand on the wall like that. And I looked up and I seen my heroes and the tears. Like, by the way, I'll probably cry at this because that's something else has happened. I've just started crying like a crazy woman. It's insane. I just can't stop crying these days. So I remember looking up at that and thinking, right, this is for Sai, and that's why I went into it. So Sai was a big part of the journey. I then can remember something else happened that I can't put the piece together, but I can remember coming on my hands and knees and feeling this urge to want to vomit. And I was in consciousness, but I was not conscious. Okay, I can remember things happening, but I wasn't fully conscious. I'd have been 80% in the Bufo journey and 20% in our reality. And I can remember being on my hands and knees and rocking back and forth. And I was repeating to myself, pain or suffering, pain or suffering, pain or suffering, pain or suffering, over and over again. And this was to do with Joe, who had told us throughout the whole weekend, you've got an option. You can suffer a small amount of pain, or you can deal with a lifetime of suffering. And it was very powerful. That is a quote that stayed in my head: pain or suffering, and it's relevant to everyone's life, and it's applicable to like training. Do you want to suffer a bit? Do you want to go through a bit of pain to get the body you want, or do you want to live the rest of your life with the body you have and how you feel? So it was this pain. I was saying pain or suffering, pain or suffering, pain or suffering, and I felt this urge to be sick. Now, when I was doing the ayahuasca on both nights previous, the vomiting. I was vomiting pretty violently, but there was something here in my throat, but it wasn't physical. And I know it sounds mad, but it wasn't physical. There was something like, the quickest way I could describe it would be spiritual, okay? There was some spirit, something trapped in my throat. And I could feel, no matter how hard I tried to throw up, it would never come out. It just wouldn't want to come out. And it was getting me really frustrated. And I can actually remember fucking praying. I'm not religious, but during ayahuasca, I can remember praying, going, Jesus, just get this thing out of me. That was how mad it was, right? It was like crazy. But as I was going through this process in the Bufo Alvarius, the shamans caught on that something was happening to me. And they came around and they started beating their drums. And the drum, like, honestly, this is a sensation I'll never forget to my dying day. The drums were beating louder and louder and louder and louder. And I felt the energy of the drums getting louder and louder. And I wanted to be sick. And I started to be sick. And I vomited first on the floor. And I remember it was pink. My vomit was pink for some reason. Don't know why. Maybe I was just tripping that. But my vomit was pink. And there was this like worm-like creature swimming through the vomit on the floor. But I knew there was something else in there. I had to get it out. And I started really vomiting hard. Like I pushed hard, and the drums were getting harder and harder and harder and louder and louder. And I vomited everything up. And they gave me a bucket. And I remember scraping. I was going fucking pain or suffering, pain or suffering, pain or suffering, pain or vomiting. And the blood was tripping down my face because I was scraping the cut. It was just fresh half an hour ago. It was blood down my face. I was scraping off the bucket. And then this anger came over me. Was it anger? I don't know. It was this force came over me. And I let this scream out. Now, this is something I can clearly remember. I remember the scream being so loud and so not my voice that I can actually remember thinking to myself, who's making that noise? And this is the crazy thing, right? I felt the urge to scream starting from my hip, the damaged hip, I've got the hip, need the hip raised one. And I came up through my stomach and just came out, and I just unleashed this unmerciful, and just fucking screamed. And this scream kept going on and on. And in my head, it kept going on and on and on and on and on for what felt like hours. And then I jumped up, or did I jump up? I think I might have started crying at that point. I can't remember. I started crying. I thought I cried a bit, but I can remember jumping up, or like as if the Bufo Alvarius just wore off me instantly. And I jumped up, and I was confused. And I can remember looking around, and Joe, the shaman, was beside me, and I went to walk towards her to give her a hug, and you could see the fear in her face almost. And she stepped back and like shocked, and she put her drummer maracas thing up and told me to stay away. And one of the other shamans came over to me, Peter, the guy that I owe a lot to. He came over and he put his hand on my heart, and then he seen me sort of sump, and he gave me a hug. And then Joe came over to me, and I held Joe. And the second I held Joe, I literally broke into tears like I have never saw before. I have never cried this intensely or this hard or this prolonged in my life. It was like 40 years of built up anger and tension just came flowing out of my body. And I collapsed on there. This woman's fucking, she must be 60 kilo with that. I'm 95 kilo. And I'm not a small dude. And I'm hugging her and I'm holding her. And that poor woman held me for about 3 minutes before the others came over and they lifted me off her and they put me down. And they had to support me. I had no energy, I had no strength. And I sort of lay into the fetal position and I started crying. And I was continuing crying, and I was repeating, "I'm sorry, mummy. I'm 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 sorry, mummy," over and over and over and over again. And the reason I was doing that was because when Gail and I lost Thor, baby Thor, in October, my mum and I fell out. My mum and dad and I fell out, and I haven't spoken to them since that moment. I like, in fact, on my birthday, she tried to contact me, and I sent her the most horrible, disgusting, "fuck you, never speak to me again" message I could ever think of, because I was so angry. This was the point when she just texted me at the wrong time. I was angry. And she texted Gail, actually, because I had blocked her. And so I texted, "fuck you, don't ever speak to me, you're a fucking cunt. I hope you die." I was evil. It was horrible. I'm disgusted at myself writing it. And so I was repeating, "I'm sorry, mummy. I'm sorry, mummy. I'm sorry, mummy. I'm sorry, mummy. I'm sorry, mummy." And then it's like every pain, every bit of suffering, every bit of turmoil I've ever had in my life, I've always had these, not schizophrenic voices, but I'm sure we all do it, we just talk to yourself, but it's never silent. My head was never silent. I used to say to Gail, I used to cry to Gail, something go, "Gail, all I want to do, I just want 10 minutes of silence. I just want to know what it's like to not have these constant voices going in your head, talking about everything." Since that moment, I have not had a noise in my brain. I literally feel lighter. People are saying I look younger, though I doubt that, but I feel younger. And the most crazy fucking thing, and anyone who knows me, if you watch these, you know my hip is bad. I can squat again. I can jump. I can run. I've barely got any pain. My mobility has increased by about 50%. And this happened literally the second I jumped up, like that. Now, if you don't believe me or not, is irrelevant to me. I don't care. I'm telling you what happened and the experience I had from the Bufo Alvarius. Now, we went in and done the other crazy thing that happened that night was, and I didn't even tell that girl, but Gail knows this. I told Gail this happened the moment it happened. And then when we found it the next day, I was like, holy shit. But there was on the next ayahuasca journey that night, the last ayahuasca journey, it was a beautiful experience. I have to say, it was one of the most beautiful, loving experiences. Oh, sorry, the shamanic cleanse. So we done the shamanic cleanse is another important part. We done the shamanic cleanse of the room because of this curse that or something happened that they don't. They fuck you. So basically they let us all down, right? They sat us all down on the chairs and they got sage. And they went through each one of us, and it was a really beautiful experience. I have to say, like there was love being what they're doing, and it was beautiful. They sat us there and had our hands out like this, and they dosed us with the feathers and the palm leaves and whatever, and the sage and whatever incense, and they were beating the drums and they were doing this. And once everyone's got done like that, they went and brought sorry. When the drums and the Bufo Irish thing, the drums, the beating all drums, and everyone else was going crazy, but everyone else got their demon, whatever it was, fucking exercise, whatever you want to call it. But afterwards, there was a real feel in the room, like not an evil presence, but you could feel it. You had to be there, but you could feel this presence. Well, I could, and other people said they could. And they brought these sound bowls out and these chimes, and they went around, and they going from the heavy, angry drums to this beautiful chime sound, the energy in the room changed. And then the shamanic cleanse, they done more, and we felt the room literally lift, the energy lift out of the room, and this new energy come in, and it was just full of love and peace and quietness and contentment. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful. So when we went into the ayahuasca journey, the music was beautiful. It was soft. It was gentle, unlike the last the night before, which when we done the Yopo. I'll come back to that. And the music was angry. So it was beautiful and full of love, and everyone was chilled out, relaxed, and I was almost sleeping. And like the ayahuasca wasn't giving me any visuals, but it was giving me this beautiful wave feeling of like contentment and love and compassion, and it was one of the nicest feelings I've ever had in my life, to be honest. When feeling that, and I can remember I was near sleeping, and the silence and the beautiful music was broken, pierced by this high pitched, like almost demonic female scream, and it scared the sweet fucker to me. And not only scared the fucker to me, but I felt something go back inside of me. I know it sounds crazy, right? But it did. I felt this thing hit me, and I felt here, and I was like that sort of sickening feeling came back in my throat. And I said to Gail, I feel something like almost evil in me. I can feel this thing inside of me. I don't know. I need to be sick. But I didn't want to be sick. Something was telling me to be sick. So I was like, I need to be sick. I need to be sick. And I picked my bag up to be sick. And as I picked my bag up, a couple of other people at the exact same time started vomiting. And the three of us, I think it was three of us, just started puking our guts up and all throwing the stuff in their bag. And then the girl who was having the problem, who was having the experience, the like beating the pillow and screaming, she started vomiting. And then once I vomited, I felt better again. I felt relaxed. And I was able to go back to my trip. But the next day I spoke to her, and she goes to me, Paul, I want to thank you. I needed to get something out of me, but I couldn't be sick. And your being sick gave me the strength to allow me to vomit. And I was like, well, I was a bit mad because of what I'd said to Gail, I'd felt something going into me. It was almost like a presence that entered me and then came out. But yeah, there was an experience. Now listen, the other thing was the Yopo. The Yopo we done, which was like, it's like the masculine version of the Bufo Alvarius. The Bufo Alvarius is the female, or is the feminine entity. This one, the Yopo is the masculine entity. So we've done that the night before. It blows up your nose. Horrible experience. Not the nicest feeling at all. But no one else liked it. I absolutely fucking loved it. It was the one thing that I just thought, wow, is it. Now, if you've ever done MMA, boxing, you ever walked into that cage or walked into the ring with your corner around you, and you've got your friends, your team around you. That's sort of the way I felt here. I remember there was one of the facilitators, Shaman's Colin. He was down on his knees, he was loading up the Yopo for another person, but everything went very cartoon-like to me. And I was in the Amazon jungle. That's the way it was, like the Amazon jungle, and Colin was on his knees. I was one hand, one knee, like the hunter squat, and he had a spear in his hand. And behind him, there were warriors all behind him, and the drums were beating, and it was really aggressive, very angry drum beats, like very powerful. And I could feel these, and I was like, boom, boom. And they're beating the spears, they were beating the spears, the drum. And it was like they were calling me to come to battle. And it was this amazing, like, powerful, masculine feeling of like power, strength, of like you were going to defend your family. There was no fear. You didn't care if you were going to die. It was this overwhelming, like, warrior feeling. It was unfuccking believable. Back when I stand up thinking about it. But it was a phenomenal experience. But yeah, that is my weekend. Now listen, is it for everyone? I don't know, but I'll tell you one thing. I don't know why this is not being used for people. What I learned was my suicidal tendencies, my suicidal thoughts, everything that I thought the reason why I haven't killed myself, always wanted to haven't, was because I didn't want to die. I didn't want to kill myself. What I wanted to do was free myself from my 7-year-old self, my inner child, the child within me, the 7-year-old child that's just experienced trauma, was dictating most of my actions, most of my life. And that Bufo Alvarius allowed me to not kill him off, but shall we say, free myself of him. And that was with the death. So I was dying. The Bufo Alvarius, I died, and I was reborn. And I was reborn as me now, Paul Murray, the 44-year-old man. And I genuinely, I can't express it. This is something you have to understand. You have to experience yourself. But I am a different person. And people who've met me are going, what the fuck's going on with him? Like, I'm crying. I don't cry really, but like I'm crying fucking for no reason whatsoever. Just all it's like a tap's being turned on. I can't turn it off now. Just I'm filled with love and compassion for so many people. So people that I was just already hated, I'm like, I don't care anymore. Life is not what I think is important. What I thought was important on Wednesday and Thursday morning isn't important now. There's so much more to life. There's so much more important things, and it's been the most profound experience of my life, and one that I think that every human being should do. In fact, I jokingly said, without being joke, that if you want to run as a politician to be prime minister or president, you should be forced. One of the requirements should be that you have to go through one of these retreats, because I would say a lot of the people in power are in power because of their ego, and when you experience the ego death, you become a different person. You definitely are. There's no hiding with the Bufo Alvarius. No matter what, you can't hide. You can't hide from your subconscious. Well, for me, you were put into a position where it was make or break. You could not get out of it. You couldn't run away from it. You had to face it. And it was the making of me. And I can remember actually saying to myself, this is what I've been training for. I remember this clearly. It's like all my MMA fights, all my martial arts experience, all my coaching, my grappling, my fighting, whatever. It felt like, and I was saying this, it felt like this was the moment. This was what I was leading to. This moment, this exact moment, this battle. And it was the hardest, most violent, emotional battle I've ever been through. There's nothing anyone can do. I will never face a fight with any human being or anything that was more intimidating, more overpowering, more scary than what I experienced in that 25 minutes. That felt like 1.5. It's life-changing. And to those that, Jesus, I can't thank you enough. You've changed my life. You've not only changed my life, you've changed my children's lives. You've allowed me to be with my children, and I can't thank you enough for it. So thank you very much.